afternoon. Welcome to this week's edition of GCC's Georgia Chiro Connection. I'm your host, Dr. Kathy, and I'm excited because today we get to talk to someone who has really mastered the art of the cash practice, has done a lot with having associates, has helped a lot of other docs to do the exact same thing. So it's my pleasure to welcome Dr. Korsen. How are you?
Fantastic. Thanks. It's good to be here.
It's good to have you here. So we're going to jump right in because I know people are on their lunchtime. They want to get in, they want to get out, they want to get some information. So let's talk first and foremost about, there's so many people that want to transition to a cash practice, or they've got, a 70 or 80% cash practice, and they just want to make sure that they can really sustain their bills, their livelihood, their practice, that they can continue doing what they're doing. So talk to us a little about what that looks like for you.
So in 2008, I got a phone call from Blue Cross Blue Shield, and they wanted to have a friendly chat, which turned into me contacting the FBI and being wired the night they came. And pretty much on a Tuesday afternoon, I practiced in Narragansett, Rhode Island at the time. So I drove to the beach, had a little bit of lunch, and decided when I went back that I would be 100% cash. We wouldn't accept any insurance for any reason from anybody at any time ever again. That is not the way I recommend that you do it.
Right.
However, we did it, and we survived. And not only survived, but we thrived. My practice we went from helping about 120 people a week to over 700 people a week. And if I can do it and I'm nobody, anybody could do it. So my advice is, not after having beaten myself up, you don't need to see 700 people. You can actually charge a good, fair fee, see a reasonable number of people, and make a fantastic living. It's not hard to charge for cash for your fees. It's no harder than going to the supermarket and buying a loaf of bread, right? You go to the supermarket, you get a loaf of bread, you bring it up front, you pay your $5 and you check out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Shouldn't be any harder than that in your office. And if you keep it that simple and give people options to pay in cash, you don't need to bill any insurance for any reason, and you'll do just fine, I promise.
It's interesting that you say that analogy of, we go to stores and we just spend the money, because I have a patient who just had some legal issues come up with one of their businesses, and they contacted one of the lawyers here in the local community. And the lawyer, she said to the patient, "I'm expensive." Just flat out, "I'm expensive." And he says, "Okay." She says, "But what have you heard about me?" And he said, "I heard that you're the best." She goes, "I am. And that's what you're paying for." It's just very matter of fact. She didn't make any excuses. She didn't try to wheel and deal. She wasn't like, "Oh, well, if you can't afford it, I'll drop my fees. And, if you can't pay me today, you can pay me 6 months." She just flat out said, "I'm expensive. You heard that I'm the best. I am. You're going to get what you pay for."
I've done it every way. I had a box on the wall for a year. I do memberships still. I had to close my practice because of the COVID mandates in Rhode Island. And we closed that. I literally had about 30 days notice, so I wasn't able to sell it. We just closed it and moved up here to New Hampshire, started another practice August 1st, and we haven't accepted any insurance. I've already got 650 patients since August 1st. I'm back up to seeing about 50 or 60 people a day. And we have not accepted any insurance for any reason from anybody at any time, under any circumstance. But we give people options. I mean, we have a fee for service where they can pay for the visit. We have a membership. We have packages. I've done everything from pretty much box on the wall, which nobody will tell you who has a box on the wall, but it's $13.50 per person that you're taking out of that box at the end of the day. Even after you see 200 people, it's not a bad living, right? But it's a lot of work. And I've also tried very high case fees. Any way that you do a cash practice, if you're serving from your heart with love as your first technique, I promise there's no way to fail. So you can make the transition anytime you want. I know when you first do it, it's a little scary. So people tend to use a lower fee, and then they realize I could have done a lot better, and then they end up raising the fee to something reasonable, and they have a wonderful practice. and I've seen people, mentored people through that. I wrote a couple books, Chiropractic Cash Only Practice, and I've got the Facebook page. Everything in the books is for free on the page, so you don't need to buy the books. I just organize the thoughts in the book, so it's a labor of love. I got through it. I figured out how to do it, and that's why I love sharing it with other people.
That's part of that DE, lasting purpose, life, LP, right? Give, love, and serve out of your own abundance. Now, I know you kind of glossed over the story, and I'm sure it's in the book, but is that a topic worth sharing today of
the audit, the Blue Cross audit?
Yeah, because you know what?
Yeah.
I've talked to docs, and I know docs who had a post-payment audit, right? Big practices, multi-locations, had a post-payment audit, some that beat it, some that ended up having to pay a lot of money. So be curious to know your experience.
So we countersued Blue Cross because I didn't do anything wrong. And that turned into a 5-year federal lawsuit. And we basically proved in federal court that Blue Cross was trying to use doctors as an ATM machine to extract money back from them that they had already paid. That's what a post-payment audit is. Mm-hmm. They don't just do it to us; they do it to hospitals. But we set a federal precedent with the decision in my case. And Blue Cross said they were sorry to me in the end. They were really sorry. They said they were sorry like 1.65 million times. They said they were sorry.
They said it a lot.
They said they were sorry
really
a lot
were
of times.
Sorry.
But unfortunately, nobody wins a lawsuit except for an attorney. People don't win lawsuits; only attorneys do. So my attorney thought he deserved 1.5 million I'm sorry's, which left me after 5 years in federal court. We did win the case, hands down. The decision is online. So if Blue Cross in particular or another insurance company comes after you with a post-payment audit, you can use my federal case as a precedent, and usually they'll back off.
Wow. Now, I did know that there's a time limit versus for in-network doctors versus out-of-network doctors. And I think that's the reason why a lot of us choose to be an out-of-network provider, because we don't want to be held to that, unlimited time period with the post-payment audit. But it's very interesting because I teach at Life University and I talk about the different models: cash practice, membership, box on the wall. And when I say box on the wall, students don't even know what I'm talking about. Right, because it's not something that you hear very often. So it's interesting to hear that was one of the models that you did for a short period of time.
So interestingly enough, now that I'm up in New Hampshire, less than 20 minutes from where I am, the Bain brothers, Bill Bain and his brothers, had the largest practice in the history of the United States. And they were box on the wall. They were seeing over 1,000 people a day in their practice.
A day.
And just with their box on the wall. And it's a viable mode of accepting cash in your practice. It's not a way to grow a practice. It's a way to it's a GPC system. Actually, a pitcher from the Yankees, this guy Dr. Chiro, who was the uncle of Dr. Bain, came up with this idea of, hey, if chiropractic is truly priceless, like how much can we can't put a price on it, then we need to collect something for ourselves, right? But we should let the patient decide what the fee is. And that's basically it. So we serve God, GPC, God, patient, chiropractic, in that order. So the chiropractor comes last, God comes first, patient comes second. And this system allows everybody to be able to come to your office because they're able to pay what's within their means. Now, remember, you're seeing less than 500 people a week, then if you do the math, I told you $13.50. That's the number no box on the wall practice wants you to know. But if you do the math and you can live on however many people that you're seeing, that's great. But you really can't put a box on the wall until you've earned it and built a big practice. So I caution people against doing the box on the wall because the volume that you need to see literally tore my body apart. I mean, my shoulder, I had a torn herniated disc in my back. I mean, I have lots of stories that don't fit into 15 minutes. Just suffice it to say that pick a safe technique that you can do volume with, and don't worry so much about the fee system. I mean, if it's on your heart to do a GPC practice, a box and wall practice, that's great. But you don't need to do that in order to serve your community with a cash practice.
Right. Absolutely. You can absolutely set reasonable fees.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
And I believe also that you can have a principled insurance practice if you do it the right way as well. I just haven't personally seen a lot of those.
Yeah. So, and I do believe that you can have a principled insurance practice. And the main reason I say that, and I say this all the time to students, especially, I became a chiropractor because I got hit by a tractor trailer. And at the time, I thought I wanted to be a physical therapist until I went to physical therapy and chiropractic and neurologists and pain clinics and all that kind of stuff. And my accident was the catalyst for me becoming a chiropractor. And I didn't have a good chiropractor at the time. I really didn't. I had an ambulance chaser. He was terrible. He never educated me anything about chiropractic. But it at least opened my eyes that I didn't want to be a physical therapist, but I knew I wanted to help people and became a chiropractor. And I truly believe that I've had a good impact on the profession. You know, I'm not the greatest chiropractor in the world, but I think that I've done my share.
Yes, you are, Doc. You're the greatest.
We all are.
Anybody listening, you're the greatest too.
Right. We all are, right? We all are the greatest chiropractor. But I think that I've done my share of, you know, trying to help the profession. And if I never went to a chiropractor who took care of me because of a car accident, then I might be a physical therapist today. And so I'm very big on taking care of those people that have been in a car accident, because had I gotten the right care at the right time, maybe my shoulders wouldn't feel like they're falling off my body all the time, right? And so having been through that, I understand that if we get patients the right care that they need as quickly as possible, we can prevent them having 40 years of shoulder pain that, you know, they have a difficult time sleeping at night. And that's important to me because that's part of my story, right? So because I'm a principal chiropractor, I feel like you can do different versions of payment methods and still be principled. But I see where some people, they just say, you know, the Mercedes 80s, what did they do? They went from adjusting for $2 or $3 to, ooh, now we have insurance and we get paid for it. Well, let's do heat pads and laser and diathermy and, you know, everything that Dr. Sid would talk about. And they would do everything to collect $300, $400, $500 a visit and not chiropractic. Right.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, you can make the mistake of, you know, just going down that rabbit hole and doing anything just because you get paid for it versus doing what's best for the patient. And that's different with every technique.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
We, believe it or not, we do see people that are in automobile accidents. And when they come in and say, well, I want to use my insurance, I just let them know, go see somebody else who will document your case and then come back when you want to get well. And I'm totally good with it.
Yeah. And that's, you know what, sometimes that's exactly the best thing that you can do for those patients. But I want to shift gears with you because I know we're running out of time. Talk to us a little bit about bringing in associates and how you have done it successfully.
Oh, so I kind of did have the associates during the Mercedes 80s time. It was during the 90s. In Cincinnati, I had 7 offices. So I've had 22 associates and staff. And it was basically a big babysitting service is what it really turned into. So it's a challenge. So just from my experience, the best associates are the ones that went out on their own. They didn't make it in practice. They understand the inside, how difficult it is to be the owner of the practice, yet they're really good at what they do. If you can get those people into your practice, they will be loyal. They will serve your patients well, and they tend to make the best associates. I also have, in my cash practice in Rhode Island, I also had several associates. We were doing high volume at that time too, and it's sort of like trial by fire. But right now, people coming out of these few principled chiropractic colleges, I'd say Life and Sherman at this point, but they will be able to keep up with your volume. They'll be able to take care of your patients and give them a try. Do a percentage deal. Give them something they can live on, and then give them a percentage to go after as a bonus. And that usually worked the best.
Yeah. Fantastic. I love it. Thank you so much.
Hey, my pleasure.
All right. Well, if people want to get in touch with you, of course, what was the name of your website where they can access the information that's in the book?
Well, on Facebook, there's Chiropractic Cash Only Practice. It's a page.
Mm-hmm.
You want to ask questions because that's wide open in public. You want to ask questions privately, just go to join the Chiropractic Cash Only Practice group.
Okay.
As long as you're a chiropractor, I'll let you into that. And you can ask any questions you want in there. There's never a charge for that. I wrote 3 books on how to run a cash practice, Chiropractic Cash Only Practice, the book, volume 2, and then Reinvented. And but honestly, the books are great, but you're always welcome to ask any questions. I've never charged a penny to anybody to help anybody switch to a cash practice.
Terrific. Thank you. And I appreciate you doing that for the profession. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
It was a pleasure.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Stick with us for a few minutes. We just got to do a quick wrap up of all the events that we have coming up, because GCC, we love to throw events, whether they are networking events or social events, or they are continuing ed. So we've got a whole list of events coming up along the bottom of your screen right now. A couple of the big events I want to talk about. We have our Chiro Cup coming up in October. We've got our cornhole tournament coming up in June. And of course, this weekend, we have Cinco de Chiro, because that's our Cinco de Mayo chiropractic event. That's our Cinco de Chiro coming up this Saturday night. You have to RSVP. Go to georgiachiropractic.org. You'll get all the information on the website there. We always have a great time. We've got some great speakers. Dr. Dan Tu is speaking. Dr. Stephanie O'Brien is speaking. We have a student, Nick Sclafani, is going to be speaking. So great time, great little social rub with each other, rub shoulders on each other and just get the principal all over you and get the rest of the world off of you, right? And I think it's so important to do that from time to time. But then in June, we've got our Chiro Cornhole. We're still looking for a few teams. Make sure you come out there. That's going to help support some really good causes. Obviously, supporting end slavery in Georgia. That's a big one. But everything that we do, we have the vision and the mission of helping chiropractors succeed and helping more people in the community get access to chiropractic offices. So check out our website, georgiachiropractic.org, for more information and to get registered for this weekend's Cinco de Chiro event. Dr. J, thank you so much for coming on.
Hey, thanks. Can I say one more thing?
Absolutely.
I am an out-of-state member of the Georgia Chiropractic Council. You need to join if you're out of state, just to support you guys. So anybody who's watching that knows me, I've helped in the past, that you're not in Georgia, join their association. Also join Florida's association. It's cheap money and it's doing a great cause. So do it.
Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate that tremendously. Yep. We love our out-of-state members just like we love our in-state members. So thank you for that.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Yep, absolutely. All right, everybody. If you're watching this after the fact, you've got any questions, just go ahead and drop them down in the comment section below. Otherwise, we'll see you next Wednesday right here for GCC's Georgia Chiro Connection. Have a great one.